Dear everyone, welcome back to Botany session. And in these videos, we are going to discuss biotic factors. It is one of the chapter of Principles of Ecology, 12th chapter. Biotic factors. The interactions between the living organisms, both plants and animal community, these are called biotic factors. So, the animals, they are always associated with plants for the purpose of food material. As already we know that plants are called producers, animals are called consumers. They are heterotrophs. We are all heterotrophs. We are not able to synthesize their own food material. So that is why all animals, they are always depends upon the plants for the purpose of food material. So that is the reason why the animals are always associated with the plants. So these type of interactions, they may be broadly classified into two types of interaction. Based on these interactions between the animals and the plants, there are two types of interaction. One is a positive interaction, another one is a negative interactions. Positive interactions are two types. One is a mutualism, another one is a commensalism. Then what is called mutualism? Interactions between the two living organisms, in which both the organism gets benefited. These are called positive interactions or mutualisms. For example, Rhizobium bacteria, they are always associated with the roots of leguminous plants. These are called mutual interactions. Both the organism gets benefited. And similarly, commensalism, it is interactions between the two living organisms. One is benefited, another one is neither benefit nor harmful. So it represents by the symbol plus and 0. These are called commensalism. Both the mutualism and commensalism, these are called positive interaction. Both are benefited, otherwise one is benefited, another organism neither benefit nor harmful. But negative interactions, in these videos we are going to discuss about negative interactions. Then what do you mean by negative interaction? The interactions between the two organisms in which one organism get benefited. One get benefited, the another one get harmed. So the benefited, it represents by the symbol plus, and harmed, it represents by the symbol minus. So negative interaction, it is represented by plus and minus symbol. You know, once again, what is called negative interaction? The interactions between the two living organisms, one is gets benefited, another one species gets harmed. These are called negative interactions. So based on these negative interactions, further classified into, one is predations. Then second one is parasitism. Third one is competition. Then fourth one is commensalism. So I am going to explain one by one. Predation, parasitism, competition and commensalism. Predation, there are two types of predations. One is a total parasites, another one is a partial parasite. Competition, two types of competition. One is interspecific competition, another one is intraspecific competitions. I will explain one by one. First one is predations. Then what do you mean by predation? It is interactions between the two living organisms or species in which one species gets captured and killed, eaten of the other species. One which captured, kills and eaten of the other species. These species are called predator. These are called predators. Among the two living organisms, one which captured kills and eaten of the other species. These are called predators. The another species, another one which is killed, these are called prey. Prey. So among these interactions of species, predators are gets benefited. It is represented by symbol plus. And prey which gets harmful, it is represented by minus symbol. So the predation need view plus and minus symbols. These are called predations. So the captured killed species, these are called predators. It is always dominant over the killed species. It is a dominant species. It is a suppressed species. The suppressed species, it is always a prey. A lot of examples also there. For example, all the insectivorous plants. For example, insectivorous plants. The one is Drosera. Drosera. It is commonly called as sundew plants. Sundew plants. Then second one is Nepenthes. Nepenthes. It is commonly called as pitcher plant. Pitcher plant. The third one is Venus flytrap. It is also called Dionia. Venus flytrap, Dionia. Then Utricularia. Utricularia, commonly called as bladderworts. Bladderworts. Then another one is Sarracenia. It is also called trumpet pitcher. So these are the examples for insectivorous plants. All the insectivorous plants are called predators. They get benefited. Why they are called insectivorous plants? All these plants are called photosynthesis. I mean, they are the producers. They manufacture their own food material through photosynthesis due to the presence of a green color pigment is called chlorophyll is present. A green leaf is present. They manufacture their own food material, but they are not able to synthesize enough protein due to the deficiency of nitrogen. Deficiency of nitrogen. So, how can we overcome this nitrogen deficiency? How? Because for the purpose of overcome this nitrogen deficiency, these plants are to capture the insect and digest themselves. Hence, it is also called insectivorous plants. So it is only growing in the nitrogen deficiency soils. So where is the source of nitrogen? Insect, insect body is the source of proteins. Source of protein. For the purpose, their morphologically these plants have to be modified to capture the insect and digest themselves. For a very good example of pitcher plant, Nepenthes. It is a ring. It is an insect, larva of insect. It is a lid. These are called pitcher. Pitcher. It is a petiole. It is a leaf base. So the entire leaf gets modified. How entire leaf gets modified? Lamina portions become modified into a pitcher or pod-like structures. Pitcher. The tip of the leaves are modified into lid. These are the petiole become coiled portion. The leaf base becomes swollen portion. So the entire portions are modified to capture the insect. How they capture the insect? It's secreting certain attractive chemical substance on the lid, inner side of the lid. This highly sticky substance. If they secrete a highly attractive chemical substance, it will attract the insect. When the insects are trying to sticky on this sticky substance, they immediately gets entangled or close this lid. The insects are gets entangled inside the picture. It secreted proteolytic enzymes. Like the word itself, the answer proteolytic, to digest the proteins of the insect body, can acquire a required protein from the insect body again comes in the original positions. So these are for example of Nepenthes. So all these insectivorous plants, it is a predators, they get benefited. Similarly, another one is a bladder wort. This is a bladder wort. They capture small larvae of insect in the aquatic plants. These are called highly sensitive hair-like structures. If the sensitive hair-like structure, if they touch the small insect, the insects are gets entered through wall. If they enter inside the body of this Utricularia or also bladder worts insectivorous plant, they secrete a proteolytic enzymes to digest the proteins of the insect, to absorb enough protein from the body of the insects. So these are called one first example of insectivorous plants or predators. Another example for another one, second example, many herbivores. Many herbivorous animals, their browse or feed on the tender shoots of herbs, shrubs and trees. What do you mean by tender shoot? It is a young shoot. The herbivorous animals, it is also called a plant-eating animal. It's feed on the herbaceous plants. You know what's called a soft plant? Shrubs, a large size herb is called shrub. The large size shrub is called trees. So they feed the only tender shoot of herbs, shrubs and trees. As a result, there is a great vegetation. It causes a significant causes of vegetation. They affect the vegetation of the plant body due to these herbivores. So all the herbivorous animals are called predators. For example, cattle, camel, and also goat. So these are the examples for herbivorous animals. In generally, these animal plants are much suffer due to browsing of these grazing animals, much suffer than that of the perennial plants. What is called annual plant, 1 year plant, it's much suffer due to the activity of these herbivorous animals than that of the perennial animals. The perennial plants are they simply maybe escaping from these herbivores. So these are the another example. And another example, nearly 25% of the insect. These are called phytophagous. Phytophagous. You know what's called phyto? Phyto means plants. Phagus means eaten. So nearly 25% of the insects are phytophagous. Phagus means engulfing. That means they are the plant-eating insect, are also called sap-sucking insect. They feed on the sap of the plants. Sap means liquids of the plants. So it is also predators. So all these organisms are gets benefited. Then another one is defense mechanisms. Another example, defense mechanisms. So some plants, to develop their certain defense mechanism, they are simply escaping from the predators. So how they develop the defense mechanism? For a very good example, calotropes. Calotropes. We call Tamil, what we call in colloquial language, erukkanjedi. Calotropes, it secrete a highly poisonous chemical substance. These are called cardiac glycosides. Calotropes. So that is why the most of the herbivores are planting animals, they won't eat the calotropes because it secretes certain chemical substance, cardiac glycogen chemical substance. So they simply escape from the herbivorous animals. Then second one is tobacco plant. Tobacco plant to produce nicotine. It is an highly pungent smells. So they do not, the herbivorous plants do not eat tobacco plant. They simply escaping. Then third one is coffee plant. Coffee plant to produce caffeine. Coffee plant to produce caffeine. Then cinchona plant. Cinchona. It is a plant to produce anti-malarial drug is called quinine. Quinine. These are the defense mechanisms. Then similarly, thorn of bougainvillea, kagidapu. We call colloquial language kagidapu. Thorn. It is an external outer growth. It is a leaf, the external outer growth. It is a sharp external outer growth arises from the axil of the leaf, that is called thorn. Due to this external outer growth thorn, they escape from the grazing animals. Thorn of bougainvillea and spines of opuntia. In opuntia, leaves are modified into sharp spine-like structures. They escape from the herbivores. In addition to that, latex of cacti. We call colloquial language chapatically. They secreted a latex substance. Due to this defense mechanism, the herbivores, they do not eat such plants. So they develop due to the presence of a latex and a chemical substance. So these are the examples for predators. The next interactions. Second interaction is parasitism. It is interactions between the two organisms of different species. The interactions between the organisms of different species, one is benefited, another one is harmed. So that is why it is represented by the symbol plus and minus for parasitisms. So among these two different species, one species, these are called parasites, or smaller partner, get the food from the larger partners. One is smaller partner, they get food. The smaller partner called parasites. Why do we consider parasites? It totally depends upon the other living organism for the purpose of food and shelter. They do not prepare their own food material. So they are called smaller partner, also called parasite. It get the food from a larger partner. Larger partners, these are called plants. Which is a larger partner? Plants are also, that is, act as a host. Host, it is an organism from where the parasites are get food. These are called host. It is an organism from where the parasites are get their nourishment. These are called host plants. So which is act as a host? Plants which is act as a host for the parasitic plant. So these are interactions between the parasite and host. These are nothing but parasitisms. So based on these interactions of parasitic and host, there are two types of parasitism. One is a total parasite, another one is a partial parasite. The total parasite, it is also called holoparasite. Holoparasite. It is also called total parasite. Then second one is hemiparasite. Hemiparasite are also called partial parasite. I will explain one by one. What is called total parasite or holoparasite? The first one is holoparasite. What do you mean by holoparasites? The organism which depends upon the other living organism for entire the nourishment. They completely depends upon the other living organism for the purpose of food, water, shelter, oxygen, everything that depends upon the other living organism. These are called holoparasites, are also called total. Why do we consider total? They totally depends upon the other living organism. Totally depend on other living organism. For example, Cuscuta. Cuscuta. These are the example for total stem parasite. Stem parasite. I mean, this Cuscuta, it is a larger partner. For example, host. Cuscuta is a thin, pale, yellow, leafless stem. It is a Cuscuta or parasite. Parasite. It is a host plant. The host plant have the leaf. So what do you mean by Cuscuta? It is a thin, pale, yellow, leafless stem. It twines around the host plants. These are called Cuscuta. This Cuscuta total stem parasite. I mean, they totally depends upon the only stem of the plant, not for the other parts, root. No, only stem of the plant. That is why it's called the name total stem parasites. If you take the cross section here, it is a host plant. So it is a host plant. Host plant. It is a Cuscuta. The Cuscuta, to produce a special root is called Hastoria. Hastorial root. Hastorial root. They send their Hastoria root into the host plant, can acquire a required food material from the stem of the host. Outer phloem, center xylem. Xylem. As I said earlier, xylem it is a water containing elements, phloem it is a food containing elements. So these Hastorial root penetrate into the host plant. It is connected to the both the xylem and the phloem because it's a total parasite. They totally depends upon the host organism. Can acquire the water from the xylem, water and mineral salt from the xylem, and food from the phloem. So the Hastoria of the total parasite connected with both the vascular tissues such as xylem and the phloem. These are called total stem parasite. For the host plant, the Cuscuta, it is a total stem parasite of the host plant such as Doranda, and Acacia. You know what's called Acacia? We call in Tamil it is a Seema Karuvelan. Seema Karuvelan. It is Acacia. This Cuscuta, it is penetrate into the Doranda plant and Acacia plant can acquire the required food material. Example for total stem parasite Cuscuta. Similarly, total root parasite. Total root parasite. For example, Belanophora. Belanophora, Orobench, then Rafflesia. These are the example for total root parasite. I mean, these are the parasitic plant. They are totally depends upon the root of the host, not for the stem of the host. Example, Rafflesia, it is the largest flower. It is pollinated by elephant, largest flower. And if you take the structure of Orobench, they obtain the food from root of the host plant. This is a host plant. Brinjal. Brinjal host plant. It is a Hora bench. Hora bench. It produces a Hastoria root. The Hastoria root, which absorbs or connected to the root of the host plant, it absorbs enough water, food material from the root of the host plants. It is a brinjal. It is a Hora bench, that is called tuber. Tuber is nothing but underground modifications. Tuber, stem modification. Tuber, it sends their root or Hastoria root to connect it to the root of the host plants. So these are called total root parasite. The next, hemiparasite. Hemiparasite are also called partial parasite. Partial parasite. Why do we call it as a partial parasite? The word is the answer. They partially depends upon the host plants because they manufacture carbohydrate. Due to the presence of green leaf, they manufacture, they can able to synthesize their own food material through photosynthesis, but they are not able to get enough water and minerals. So that is why the organism of this parasite only depends upon the host plant for only water and mineral salt. Only water and mineral salt alone, they depends upon the host plants. For example, Loranthus and Viscum. Viscum plus Loranthus. These are the example for partial stem parasite. Partial stem parasite. They partially depends upon the stem of the host plants only. Viscum and Loranthus. It is a Viscum plant. Host plant. This is a host. Viscum. This is a leaf. See, due to the presence of green leaf, they prepare their own food material, but they are not able to acquire enough water. That is why it sends their special type of root. These are called Hastoria root. Hastoria root. This Hastoria root, which is penetrated into the host plant to absorb only water and mineral salt. So there is a neat question. These hemiparasites are also called partial parasite. The Hastoria roots are connected with only xylem of the host, not for the phloem. But whereas in total parasite, it connected with both xylem and phloem of the vascular tissue. Here only xylem of the host plants, remember. So these are called partial parasite or partial stem parasite. Another example, partial root parasite. Root parasite. For example, Santalum album. Santalum album. Santalum album. Commonly called as sandalwood. Sandalwood. We call commonly Sandana sandalwood. These are the example for partial root parasite. They are partially depends upon the root for the purpose of only water and mineral salt, but they can manufacture their carbohydrate. The next, competitions. The third negative interaction is competitions. Competitions. It is an interactions between the two organism or species in which both the organism, both species are gets harmed. Both organism or species gets harmed. So these are called competitions. So both are harmed. It is represented by the symbol minus and minus in the point of view. Both organisms gets harmed because of competitions. So a competition maybe arises among the same species or maybe different species. They interact with each other for the purpose of food, water, shelter, everything. So based on these interactions, there are two types of competition. One is intraspecific competition, other is intraspecific competitions. Intraspecific competitions. Then second one is interspecific competitions. Then what is called intra? Same. Inter, between the two different species. Two difference. That's all. Intraspecific competition. The interactions between the individual of the two same species. Individual of the same species. For example, deer and deer. Human beings are with the human beings. These are the same species, interactions. And what is called interspecific competition, the interactions between the individual of the different species. Different species. These are called interspecific competition. If we take the first one is intraspecific competition, these competitions are severe. In intraspecific competition, the competitions are severe. Why the competition is severe among the individual of the same species? Because all the members of the species have same requirement or same needs. All the species, all the members have same requirement or also same needs. If the needs are same, if the requirements are same, they would create competitions. They would compete for food, habitat, and even for the adaptations, similar adaptations to fulfill their needs. So these two species, they want to fulfill their needs within the environment. They would compete for food, water, shelters. Habitat means it's a place where the organism can live. These are called habitat. They would compete for space, water, oxygen, food materials, sunlight for photosynthesis, even for the similar adaptation. These are called intraspecific competitions. Remember, between the individual of the same species, because of needs are same, requirements are same, they would create competition, these more severe competitions. The second one is interspecific competition among the individual of the different species. For example, grassland. In grassland, the species which is growing, the species of grasses which growing in the grassland, there may be a little competitions. Even the enough waters, availability of food, everything are enough waters also there. Enough food is also there. Even though there is a little competitions maybe arises in the grassland of grass species. But this competition becomes severe when during drought condition. During summer season, there is a water scarcity. During that period, the competition becomes severe. As a result, life and death competition becomes started. Because there is no availability of waters and there is no availability of enough oxygen for survival. So that is why the death competitions may be arises among the different species of grass species of grasslands. So both these competitions may be survive. Both the intraspecific competitions of survive availability of waters, food. Suppose they are migrated towards in different areas. If they are migrated during drought condition, they simply escape migrate to the different area. They can survive the species. Otherwise, leads to death of the species. These are called interspecific competition. Apart from that, most of the herbivores, I already point out, it is a grass-eating animals are called herbivores, and certain larvae and grasshopper. We call them vertically grasshoppers. Both these species, herbivores and grasshopper, they would compete for fodder and also forage craft, they would compete. Apart from that, the species of herbaceous plant, shrubs and trees which is present in the dense forest. The herbaceous plant, shrubs, large trees which is present in highly dense forest or maybe tropical rainforest, they are struggled for getting enough sunlight for photosynthesis. They get struggle for getting enough water for photosynthesis. They get enough struggle for getting enough oxygen for photosynthesis. They would compete for sunlight, water, and even space also gets competed in the forest. And it is also competed for dispersal of fruits and seeds, and also for pollination. They compete for pollinations. And apart from some other species, for example, Utricularia, that's called bladder birds. Utricularia or bladder birds, they would compete for a tiny fish and small insect competitions. So this type of competition, these are called the interspecific competition because of two different species competitions. The last one of the negative interactions is called amensalisms. It is also called antibiosis. It is an interspecific interactions between the two species. It is an interspecific interactions. You know what do you mean by interspecific? Between the two different species. The interaction between the two different species, among these, one is inhibited. One species are inhibited. You know what do you mean by inhibited? Stop the growth. Another one species, another one is neither, not either, neither benefit nor harmful. So it's represented by the symbol. One is inhibited, so negative. Another one is neither benefited nor harmful. I mean there is no any benefit, no harmful. So it is a 0 in each area. So amensalism is represented by negative value. I mean minus and 0. One species is harmed or also called inhibited. Another one is neither benefited nor harmful. So how this inhibited is achieved? How one species gets inhibited the growth? By it secreting a highly chemical substance. These are called allelopathic. So among these one species, among these two, one is secreting certain chemical substances called allelopathic chemical substance. They do not allow to grow near it. Certain species, they do not allow to grow near it. That is why it's secreting some chemical substances called allelopathic substances. For a very good example, Penicillium notatum, it is a fungus. Penicillium notatum, it is a fungus. It's secreting a substance is called penicillin. It is a very good antibiotic. It is a drugs. It's a queen of drug. It's called penicillin. It is produced by a fungus is called Penicillium notatum. Then what are the actions of this penicillin drug? It inhibits the growth of variety of bacteria. They kill all the variety of bacteria, particularly Staphylococcus. Staphylococcus bacteria. You know what is called Staphylococcus? Coccus means spherical shaped bacteria. A group of spherical shaped bacteria. These are called Staphylococcus. So this penicillium rotative fungus, they do not allow to grow near this Staphylococcus bacteria because it's secreting a allelopathic chemical substance called penicillins. So these are called Ammonsalis interactions. Another one example, Aspergillus. Aspergillus fungus, they get inhibited due to the presence of trichoderma. Trichoderma, it is a fungus which inhibit the growth of the another fungus. For example, Aspergillus. Aspergillus fungus. It is a harmful one, Aspergillus. And the trichoderma, they kill the other fungus. Hence, it is potentially used as a most biocontrol agent. Neat question. It is potentially used as a most biocontrol agent. I mean, it is a fungus which is used to kill the another fungus. That's called trichoderma. Another one is black walnut, root and hulls of. Root and hulls. Hulls is nothing but outer covering of nut. That's called hulls. Root and hulls of black walnut. Black walnut. So, what is the binomial name of black walnut? Jacqueline's regia. Jacqueline's nigra. Jacqueline's nigra. It is a binomial name of walnut, black walnut. It produces, it secreted alkaloids is called jungols. Junglone. It is an alkaloids. Due to the secretion of these alkaloids, jungols, it inhibit the growth of the seedlings. For example, apple, tomato, alfalfa grasses. So, these black walnut plants, they do not grow, they do not allow to grow near certain species. For example, apple they do not grow near this black walnut. Tomato also, because it's secreting an alkaloid is called junglone. So these type of interactions, these are called Ammonsalis interactions.